Welcome back. The Maryland State Quarter may look like an ordinary piece of pocket change, but collectors know there's much more beneath its surface. Stay with us as we uncover the history, hidden details, and the rare qualities that have made certain authenticated examples stand out in the world of modern coin collecting. First coin. The 2001 Rhode Island statehood quarter, yet this seemingly ordinary 25-cent piece continues to surprise experienced collectors. At first glance, it appears to be another circulating commemorative coin, but beneath its familiar surface lies a fascinating combination of history, artistry, minting technology, and collector demand. By the time this story reaches its conclusion, you'll discover what authenticated examples of this quarter have actually sold for, why only a small fraction command impressive premiums, and which characteristics experts examine before assigning a value that can be dramatically different from another coin with the very same date and mint mark. The Rhode Island quarter was the 13th release in the immensely successful United States Mint 50 State Quarters program, an ambitious series introduced in 1999 to honor each state's admission to the Union in chronological order. Rhode Island became the 13th state to ratify the Constitution in 1790, and its quarter reflects the state's deep relationship with the sea rather than political symbols or famous buildings alone. The reverse depicts a graceful vintage sailboat gliding across Narragansett Bay with the elegant Claiborne Pell Newport Bridge stretching across the background, accompanied by the nickname the Ocean State. The scene captures centuries of maritime commerce, sailing traditions, and coastal identity in a design that immediately distinguishes this issue from many other quarters in the series. The specific coin carrying the D mint mark was struck at the United States Mint facility in Denver, Colorado, where hundreds of millions of quarters were produced for circulation every year. The small d found on the obverse beneath the phrase "In God We Trust" identifies its origin and separates it from the Philadelphia issue, which carries no mint mark. Although both mints produced enormous quantities, subtle differences in striking pressure, die preparation, and production speed often resulted in coins with noticeably different appearances. Collectors frequently compare Philadelphia and Denver examples side by side, searching for stronger details, cleaner surfaces, and more attractive luster that can influence grading outcomes decades later. Physically, the 2001 Rhode Island quarter follows the standard specifications established for modern Washington quarters. It is composed of a pure copper core bonded between outer layers of copper-nickel, creating an overall composition of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel. Each coin weighs 5.67 grams, measures 24.26 millimeters in diameter, and features a reeded edge with 119 reeds designed to discourage the historical practice of shaving precious metal from coins. While these specifications may seem routine today, maintaining exact dimensions and metallic consistency across hundreds of millions of pieces required remarkable precision. Even the slightest deviation could indicate damage, a mint error, or in rare cases, an altered or counterfeit specimen requiring closer examination. The artistic partnership behind this coin deserves just as much attention as its technical specifications. The familiar obverse portrait of George Washington is based on the celebrated design originally created by sculptor John Flanagan, whose work first appeared on the quarter in 1932. For the reverse, designer Daniel Miller transformed Rhode Island's maritime heritage into a balanced composition that feels both historic and timeless, while engraver John Mercanti translated that artwork into steel dies capable of striking millions of coins. Every sail, cable, wave, and architectural line had to survive the tremendous pressure of modern coining presses, and those tiny details now provide important clues when professional graders evaluate strike sharpness and die quality. During 2001, the United States economy was experiencing a period of uncertainty as the technology bubble had recently burst, and later that year the nation faced the profound impact of the September 11 terrorist attacks. Despite these challenges, the State Quarters program remained extraordinarily popular, encouraging millions of Americans to collect coins by date and state rather than spending them without a second thought. Families assembled colorful maps, banks distributed fresh rolls, and collectors searched through circulation, hopping to find pristine examples before they became scratched or worn. That widespread participation dramatically increased public interest in numismatics and ensured that many Rhode Island quarters were carefully saved from the very beginning. Even though the Denver Mint struck well over 400 million Rhode Island quarters, sheer production numbers do not automatically eliminate collector value. Most examples entered circulation and accumulated contact marks, worn high points, dull surfaces, and environmental damage over years of commerce. Truly exceptional coins are another matter entirely. A sharply struck example displaying booming original mint luster, virtually flawless surfaces, and outstanding eye appeal can stand apart from the overwhelming majority. Certified mint state pieces graded around MS-67 have occasionally realized prices approaching or exceeding about $1,300 at auction when demand among registry-set collectors was particularly competitive. Those figures apply only to professionally graded coins meeting exceptionally high standards, not to ordinary circulated examples. As grading standards become increasingly demanding, the number of surviving elite-quality coins drops dramatically. Professional grading services examine every surface under magnification, evaluating strike quality, luster, preservation, contact marks, and overall visual appeal before assigning a numerical grade on the Sheldon scale. A coin graded MS-65 may appear nearly perfect to most observers, yet tiny abrasions or slightly weaker details can separate it from an MS-67 or higher example worth many times more. Registry collectors competing for the finest certified sets often pursue only the highest available grades, creating intense demand whenever an extraordinary specimen appears in a major auction. Mint errors and die varieties introduce another layer of excitement that keeps specialists searching through rolls and dealer inventories years after these quarters entered circulation. While the vast majority were struck exactly as intended, authenticated off-center strikes, broad strikes, struck-through errors, clipped planchets, and dramatic die cracks occasionally escaped quality control. Some error coins remain modestly collectible, while visually dramatic examples certified by respected grading services have sold for several $1,000s. An authenticated major mint error in exceptional mint state condition can sometimes bring around $3,600 or even more, depending on its uniqueness, eye appeal, certification, and the level of competition among bidders. These remarkable results should never be viewed as typical for ordinary Rhode Island quarters. Because premium prices attract attention, authentication has become increasingly important. Counterfeiters rarely target ordinary circulating state quarters, but altered coins, fabricated mint errors, manipulated surfaces, and deceptive recoloring techniques do appear in the marketplace. Experienced numismatists examine the weight, diameter, edge reads, metallic appearance, strike characteristics, and microscopic surface texture before reaching conclusions about authenticity. They also compare suspected examples with certified reference coins and rely on leading third-party grading services for independent verification. Purchasing expensive coins already encapsulated by respected grading companies significantly reduces the risk associated with high-value acquisitions and provides buyers with greater confidence in both authenticity and assigned grade. Preservation also plays a decisive role in determining whether a coin retains its collector potential over the long term. Many valuable modern quarters have lost significant premiums simply because someone attempted to polish away tunning or remove fingerprints with abrasive materials. Cleaning almost always leaves microscopic hairlines that experienced graders immediately recognize. Instead, collectors typically handle coins only by their edges, place uncirculated examples in inert archival holders or capsules, and store them in cool, dry environments with stable humidity. Original surfaces are prized because they preserve the natural mint luster and visual characteristics that grading services and advanced collectors expect to see on an untouched coin. Looking back, the 2001 Rhode Island statehood quarter represents far more than another circulating denomination from the early 21st century. It captures a state's maritime heritage, commemorates an ambitious national coin program that revitalized collecting across America, and demonstrates how tiny differences in preservation, strike quality, rarity, and certification can transform an ordinary pocket coin into a sought-after collectible. While countless circulated examples remain worth only face value, authenticated high-grade pieces, significant mint errors, and exceptional registry-quality specimens have legitimately crossed auction blocks for amounts ranging from roughly $1,000 to well over $4,000 in especially rare circumstances. Those outcomes are driven not by the date or mint mark alone, but by a careful combination of authenticity, condition, scarcity, professional grading, and ever-changing collector demand that continues to shape the market for this memorable Denver Mint issue. Next coin. At first glance, the 2000p Maryland State Quarter appears to be just another piece of pocket change from the enormously successful 50 State Quarters program, but experienced collectors know that appearances can be deceiving. This Philadelphia Mint issue has quietly developed a reputation for rewarding careful examination, because the difference between a common circulation strike and an exceptional survivor can be enormous. Hidden within millions of seemingly identical coins are examples that stand out because of their preservation, strike quality, and originality rather than their age alone. As this story unfolds, you'll discover why specialists continue searching for outstanding specimens more than 2 decades after they were released, what characteristics determine their collector appeal, and what authenticated examples have brought when offered in competitive auctions. Released on March 13, 2000, the Maryland State Quarter became the 7th coin in the 50 State Quarters program, which began in 1999 and quickly became one of the most successful numismatic initiatives in American history. Maryland entered the Union in 1788 as the 7th state, and the coin commemorates that milestone while celebrating one of the state's most recognizable landmarks. At the center of the reverse stands the graceful dome of the Maryland State House in Annapolis, the oldest state capitol still in continuous legislative use. Framing the design are clusters of white oak leaves, a reference to Maryland's official state tree, creating a composition that blends political history with the state's natural heritage in a way that feels both elegant and unmistakably American. The timing of this release also reflected a fascinating chapter in the nation's economic history. The United States entered the year 2000 amid tremendous optimism surrounding technological innovation, expanding financial markets, and the excitement surrounding the arrival of a new millennium. Although concerns over the so-called Y2K computer issue had dominated headlines before the calendar changed, the feared disruptions never materialized on a significant scale. Americans were embracing new technologies, online commerce was expanding rapidly, and millions of people who had never collected coins before suddenly found themselves saving each new state quarter as it entered circulation. The Maryland issue benefited directly from this nationwide enthusiasm, becoming part of family collections, school projects, and coin albums across the country. The P Mint mark identifies this quarter as a product of the United States Mint in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, America's first federal mint, and one of the nation's most historically significant coin-producing facilities. Located on the obverse beneath the phrase "In God We Trust," the small letter distinguishes it from its Denver counterpart. The Philadelphia Mint produced more than 678 million Maryland quarters for circulation, an enormous mintage that ensured the design would reach every corner of the country. Yet mass production never guarantees identical quality. Differences in die wear, press adjustments, and production speed created subtle variations that modern collectors continue to study, especially when searching for sharply struck coins with exceptional eye appeal. Like every standard Washington quarter produced during that era, the 2000p Maryland quarter was struck on a clad planchet consisting of a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of copper nickel. The finished coin contains an overall composition of 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, weighs precisely 5.67 grams, measures 24.26 millimeters in diameter, and features a reeded edge. These technical specifications may sound routine, but they are essential when authenticating a coin. Professional numismatists routinely verify weight, diameter, thickness, metallic appearance, and edge characteristics because deviations can indicate damage, an altered piece, or, in rare situations, a counterfeit intended to deceive inexperienced buyers. The artistic details reward close inspection. John Flanagan's enduring portrait of George Washington remains on the obverse, preserving one of the most recognizable images in American coinage since its introduction in 1932. The Maryland reverse was designed by William Cousins and sculpted by United States Mint engraver John Mercanti. The State House dome dominates the scene, symbolizing Maryland's role in early American government, while the white oak leaf clusters represent resilience, longevity, and the state's natural landscape. Every architectural line, leaf vein, and inscription had to be transferred into hardened steel dies capable of striking hundreds of millions of coins under tremendous pressure, making the quality of the engraving just as important as the artwork itself. Once these quarters entered circulation, they immediately encountered the harsh realities of everyday commerce. Coins clinked together in bank vaults, rolled through counting machines, rattled inside cash registers, and accumulated countless small abrasions in pockets and purses. As a result, truly pristine examples became far less common than the original mintage might suggest. Many coins that technically remained uncirculated still acquired contact marks while being transported in large mint bags. This explains why collectors place such a premium on pieces displaying clean fields, crisp details, uninterrupted mint luster, and minimal bag marks, particularly when those characteristics survive decades after production. Professional grading transformed the way collectors evaluate this issue. Third-party grading services assess each coin according to the Sheldon scale, carefully examining strike sharpness, luster, preservation, surface quality, originality, and overall eye appeal. A coin certified as MS65 may be considered gem quality, but advancing just 1 or 2 numerical points can dramatically reduce the surviving population. Registry set collectors, who compete to assemble the finest certified collections possible, often pursue only the highest graded examples available. Under especially favorable market conditions, an authenticated MS68 specimen with exceptional eye appeal has realized auction prices around $1,450, illustrating how elite preservation, not simple age, creates substantial collector demand. Beyond condition rarity, specialists also remain alert for legitimate mint errors and recognized die varieties. While no major nationally recognized variety defines the 2000p Maryland quarter in the same way that famous varieties distinguish certain older American coins, authentic production errors do exist. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, struck-through errors, clipped planchets, and other genuine mint-made anomalies occasionally escaped inspection before entering circulation. Their value depends heavily on the severity of the error, the overall condition of the coin, and certification by a respected grading service. Particularly dramatic authenticated errors in outstanding mint state condition have sold in the neighborhood of $3,250, but those results apply only to genuinely scarce error coins rather than ordinary examples pulled from circulation. As collector interest has grown, authentication has become increasingly important. Counterfeiters rarely invest significant effort in reproducing ordinary circulated state quarters, yet altered coins are another matter entirely. Unscrupulous sellers have attempted to create artificial mint errors, disguise cleaning, or modify damaged pieces in hopes of attracting unsuspecting buyers. Experienced graders examine microscopic flow lines, die characteristics, edge reads, weight, and metallic consistency while comparing questionable examples against certified reference pieces. Purchasing expensive coins certified by established third-party grading companies offers valuable protection because both authenticity and grade have already undergone independent professional evaluation. Preservation plays a decisive role in maintaining long-term collector value. Even a remarkable uncirculated coin can lose much of its premium if it is improperly cleaned, polished, or exposed to moisture and environmental contaminants. Collectors generally avoid touching coin surfaces directly, instead handling pieces only by their edges before placing them into inert holders, archival flips, or hard plastic capsules designed specifically for long-term storage. Stable temperatures and low humidity help preserve original mint luster, while avoiding abrasive cleaning protects the delicate microscopic surface texture that grading services expect to see on untouched coins. Originality remains one of the most respected qualities in modern numismatics because it reflects a coin's genuine history rather than an attempt to improve its appearance artificially. The 2000p Maryland State Quarter ultimately represents far more than a commemorative issue celebrating a single state. It reflects an extraordinary period when millions of Americans rediscovered coin collecting, while also honoring a landmark that witnessed some of the nation's earliest chapters of self-government. Despite a mintage measured in the hundreds of millions, only a tiny percentage survive in truly elite condition, and even fewer combine exceptional strike quality, vibrant original luster, outstanding eye appeal, and professional certification. Those rare characteristics explain why authenticated high-grade examples and significant mint errors have legitimately sold for prices ranging from roughly $1,000 to more than $4,000 in exceptional cases. The date and mint mark alone never determine value. Instead, authenticity, rarity, preservation, grading, originality, and collector demand work together to separate an ordinary 25-cent coin from one that commands the attention of serious numismatists.